Hello viewers, in this video lecture we are going to see on topic from the third unit, exceptions in Java for the subject object-oriented programming. Objectives are to understand the concepts of Java exceptions, to apply exception handling in programming. First of all, let us see what is meant by exceptions. An exception is an unexpected event which may occur during the execution of the program, which will disrupt the normal flow of program's execution. This leads to abnormal termination of the program. Therefore, these exceptions are needed to be handled. In Java, we are having the mechanism called exception handling, which is used to handle the runtime error so that the normal flow of application can be maintained. An exception may occur due to the following reasons. First one is, if we give the invalid data as input, this leads to exceptions. Or if we are doing the communication online applications, if the network connection may be disturbed, this will lead to the exception. Or if our Java application runs out of the memory, it will occupy more amount of memory overflow causes exception. Then file cannot be found or opened. When we try to open a file from our program, if the file is not available or cannot be opened, this leads to exception. So the exceptions are caused by using the error, programming error, programmer error and physical resources. Based upon this, the exceptions can be classified into three categories. First one is checked exceptions. A checked exception is an exception that occurs at compilation time. It is otherwise called as compile time exceptions. These exceptions cannot be ignored at the time of compilation, so the programmer should handle these exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are exceptions that occurs at the runtime. So it is called as runtime exceptions. So this include the programming bugs such as logic errors or improper use of application programming interfaces. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. Now, some things are called as errors. Errors are not exceptions, but the problems may arise beyond the control of the user or the programmer. Now, exception indicates some conditions that a reasonable application might try to catch. Now we can see the exception hierarchy. For handling exceptions, we are having many built-in classes, and the base class is java.lang.exception. The base class is exception class, which is present under the package java.lang. All the exception and errors types are subclasses of class throwable, which is base class of hierarchy. Now we can see the diagrammatic representation for the hierarchy. Java.lang package having the object package having the throwable package is divided into two classes, errors and exceptions. Exception classes again divided into runtime exceptions and other exceptions. Now, exception handling keywords in Java. In Java, when we handle the exceptions, there are some procedures are there. We will use some specific keywords under which we will handle the exceptions. The keywords are try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Now we can see the basic structure of the program, Java program, that will include the exception handling mechanism. First of all, we will have the try block. Try block means which will have the code, that is the error prone code will be placed under the try block. That is in our program. If we are having doubt on any coding, that may lead to exception, that may arise an exception. Such coding have to be put under the try block. So the try block contains the code that can raise an exception. Now catch block. Catch block will declare an exception, that is will declare one type of exception, and which consists of the code which will handle the exception, which will be the remedial action that have to be executed if the particular type of exception arises. Similarly, in our program we can have more than one catch block. So each catch block will handle one type of exception. So if we are have to handle more than one type of exception, we can have the catch blocks, number of catch blocks accordingly. And finally we may have the another one block called as finally. Finally is optional, and finally always will execute. That is, whether the exception occurs or not, the finally will be the code under the finally will be executed. So the concept is, whenever the exception occurs under the try block, the corresponding catch block will be executed. So the exception handling will be performed with the help of combination of the blocks try and catch blocks. So this is the thing that we told previously, that is the code which is prone to exception. Prone to exception will be placed under the try block. When exception occurs, the exception will be handled by the catch block associated with it. So every try block should be immediately followed by the catch block or finally block. This is the example program, that is here we are performing the exception handling. So we are having the main function under which we are declaring some variables, and we are going to do some arithmetic operations in between the variables, like we are going to perform the division. So we are having the try block. Under the try block we are presenting the arithmetic operation. So under the try block we are having the coding a equal to 0, b equal to 10 divided by a. So this is the code that may raise an arithmetic exception. So we should remember the code that may raise the exception should be placed under the try block. Then after that we are having the corresponding catch block. Catch blocks should declare the exception, type of exception, that is we are declaring arithmetic exception. That means we will have the code inside the catch block that will be executed if exception occurs in the try block. If the exception occurs in the try block, the corresponding catch block statements will be executed. Otherwise, if exception does not happen, means the catch block statement will be skipped. It won't be executed. So if the exception, so in our case we know the value of a is 0. So definitely b, while performing the division operation with a, definitely it leads to arithmetic exception. So the catch block will be executed. As a result of catch block execution, we will get the message like division by 0, and after that we are printing just after try catch block. So here in our program we may get the exception in the try block, so catch block will be executed. We will get the output like division by 0, and following that we will get the statement after try catch block. Now there are two more keywords are there, like throw keyword, throws keyword. Throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception. Okay, so throw will be used in the form of throwable instance. For example, in our program we are having the method validate. We are having the method under one class. The method name is validate. We are going to validate the age. If age less than 18, we will consider this as not valid. Okay, else we will tell welcome to vote. That is, if the age is greater than 80, it is valid for voting. That is the simple operation we are performing in this operation. If the age is less than 18, it will be thrown by the exception. This is classified, this is come into the arithmetic exception, and it will produce the message not valid. And if the age is above 18, we will get the message welcome to vote. And we are having the catch block. Catch block is again declaring for the arithmetic exception. Catch block, inside the catch block we are printing one statement caught inside arithmetic exceptions, and we are re-throwing the exception with the help of the keyword throw. Throw E is the object. E is the object that we have created for the arithmetic exception in the catch block. So throw E means we are re-throwing the exception. Now we are calling the method validate with the age value 13. We are calling the method validate with the age value 13. So this is the way of using the try and catch blocks with the help of throw keywords. And now we are having one more keyword, throws. So if a method does not handle the checked exception, the method must be declared using the throws keyword. The throws keyword appears at the end of the method signature. The difference between the throws and the throw keyword is throws is used to postpone the handling of checked exception, and throw is used to invoke an exception explicitly. And last one is finally block, which is optional, which will follows a try block or a catch block. A finally block will always executes irrespective of the occurrence of exception. That is, whether the exception arise or not, the finally block will executes. But in case of catch block, whenever the exception occurs, the corresponding catch block will be executed. Otherwise, catch block will be skipped. But finally block will always executes. Finally block appears at the end of the catch blocks that follows the syntax, that is finally. That is, first of all we will have the try block, corresponding catch block. Sometimes we may have more than one catch block to mention the exception handling for different types of exceptions. And finally, at last, we will have the finally block. So this is the same programming example. Here we are having the try block. We are performing the division operation in between the values, and we are mentioning the catch block for the arithmetic exception, and we are having the finally. Inside the finally, we are printing the statement the finally block is executed. So in the try block, try block leads to exception, since we are trying to perform the division operation with the 0 value, so it leads to exception, and the corresponding catch block will be executed, and at last the finally statement will be executed. So that's all about the exception handling. So in Java, to avoid the unexpected execution termination of the program, we will handle the exceptions, and we will perform the we can mention the remedial actions inside our code, inside our programming. So these are possible with the help of several keywords in our exception handling mechanism. And in this topic, we can have the university question like explain the exception handling in Java with the keywords. Thank you all.